The new Sig 365 Fuse and Romeo-X enclosed optic. We got lucky and got our hands on one early so you guys could know if it's any good. Coming up next, you'll see our absolute first shots through the gun, full magazine +1 to see how these new 21 rounders run. Take it to the what's for dinner table to see what the gun eats. Sights and spinner and trigger control over on the spinner, some practical accuracy, and then concluding thoughts from two shooters coming up next on GBGuns. Here we go, first shots with the new 365 Fuse. We, as always, have our C-Zone steel out there about 22, 23 yards away. Sorry, this camera's a little slow to zoom. That's why it's not the main camera anymore. First 10 shots using Browning 115 grain, which in our test has shown to be middle of the road energy. It's pretty controllable. I'm losing my dot. There we go. If someone had said, hey, you want to shoot a 365, it's super controllable, I'm not sure I would have necessarily concurred not knowing it was this. That was really easy. I can get my whole hand on the gun, and as suspected, that longer slide, especially with the new longer recoil system, pretty smooth for a 365, but don't take my word for it. Tia's up next.
So 10 shots, first shots out of anything since I saw you last. I really like that.
That stayed pretty flat and comfortable in your hands, it looked like.
And the dot allowed me to keep both of my eyes open. My hesitation came from when I was seeing the red and the green together, and the green is very not bouncy. So I was playing a little mind trick game with myself there, but yeah, it's going to be a fun review.
And now this is the first 365 that I'm aware of to come with 3 back straps. Are you getting a comfortable grip on there? That's just straight out of the box.
Honestly, I could probably use a little bit more just to fill in where the pad of my hand here creates more gap here when I come around. So I've got a little bit in there. I would have to play with them to know, but I mean, straight out of the box, it's nothing to complain about.
And folks, this is something that Tia has enlightened me upon as a banana-handed individual. I've often gone for the larger back straps and figured that wouldn't work for smaller-handed people. But Tia's not only found getting that feedback in her palm, but also the support hand ends up with more surface area to grip when you have a larger grip.
Yeah, when my knuckles can stay a little bit flatter without, you know, overlapping this edge, I have more real estate on the gun, and if I've got more room back here, I can get more of this hand on there. So I've just come to maybe know how to shoot better with a bigger grip, because I'm able to just come in too far with this. I think I think I probably would have chosen a larger back strap.
We'll experiment with it before we continue.
All right, so we took a minute, and without even trying the small, I just threw the large on there, and the grip is so much better. It feels just more natural, like it's just sitting in my hand, and that gap that I was talking about that occurs right here, it's gone. So I'm gonna be able to get a much better grip going forward. It's exciting.
And it works in my banana hands too.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a plus.
Full magazine +1, see how these new 21 rounders work. We were not able to get more than 20 in, at least that's what I think. Could be because it's a brand new mag, could be Graham can't count, so count along with me. We should now have 22 rounds out of a 365, which sounds funny, but see how it goes. Stoppage we have a feed issue. So, might be the mag needs a little bit of breaking in. Might be the mag's imperfect. We don't often see this, and this is a full 21 round body. It has the little over travel stop on the bottom of it, but the body actually goes to 21. It's not one of those plus up add-ons. So we'll see, and keep that in mind if we have any issues during What's for Dinner. Thanks to our patrons and Ammo Squared supporters, it's that time again, What's for Dinner time, where the objective is to see what the gun will eat. Today we're going from 65 grain up through 165 grain, and as I roll past these, you'll see that we've got different case material, different projectile types and shapes. We're going to have different powder loads. We're going to have the ogive in different locations on these bullets. All of this impacts how reliable it'll run in a gun. 3 rounds to test for basic functionality. Will it feed? Will it chamber another round of the same type? Will we get slide lock after the 3rd shot? Testing a full mag, of course, is a deeper dive, but that costs more money and time than we've got for this. If you guys want to try any of this ammo yourself, check the pinned comment over at gbgunsdepot.com. I'll have links for sources as I can find them.
Circle number 1, we have 65 grain range training from Norma.
And these are 2-inch circles at 7 yards, just as a general aiming point.
Those are always so much fun to shoot because they smell so good. Circle number 2 is the Federal American Eagle. This is a 70 grain. Those are poppy. They were creating some recoil. Winchester silver tip. These are 115 grain in circle number 3. I love the recoil that this ammo produces. It's very aggressive out the barrel, but it's very controllable.
I was going to say, usually the silver tip is the snappy stuff.
Spear Gold Dot, this is also 115 grain. Circle number 4. Nice. It's got a lot of recoil, but I like the way that it felt in this gun, in that it's got a lot of power but controllable. Hornady's American Gunner, this is 115 grain also in circle number 5. Wow.
Not too shabby. Circle 6 is Blazer aluminum, 115 grain. We grab aluminum and steel for the same reason you guys do. It's less expensive, but the friction between rounds in the magazine, the friction going into and out of the chamber, and the expansion rate is different than brass, so it chokes some guns.
Those are called coefficients.
Yes. Tia's over there getting all sciencey. Stuff smells nice.
Interesting. I've never liked that one.
Really? Circle 7 is the Federal Law Enforcement Federal Premium Law Enforcement Tactical HST 124 grain. And thanks to the viewers who have commented, I guess the difference between the tactical and the non-tactical is the tactical is a 50-round box. If someone knows otherwise, let us know. Circle 7. That stuff shot well. Nice.
I'm glad I had you move the dot.
Circle 8 is Federal's 138 grain Syntec Defense for blue tip stuff.
I tell you, that ejection on those was wild.
Yeah.
Right in front of my face, like zing.
And circle 9, we've got PPU Defense Line 147 grain hollow points. These are a budget hollow point. but the 365 fuse don't care. And as a load up, our last one is going to be the Ammo Inc. Stealth 165 grain. It's meant for suppressed use. Also shot pretty well. So the fuse eats everything. Now it's time for sights and trigger control over the spinner. That is our Titan Great Outdoors 6-inch spinner target. We're back here 14 yards away. We've got 8 rounds of that Browning ammunition. Point of this is it's a small target that moves as we hit it. The more and better you hit it, the faster it moves, the more important timing and well-placed shot becomes, hence sights and trigger control. 4.3 inch barrel, we should get extra energy, have some good swing. Nice.
I even gave myself a little extra. I'm not mad about that. I am not mad about that. I had to take a breath because I was getting too excited, and I think that screwed me up, but I'm pretty sure it was gonna go because I did give myself an extra round. But in my giddiness, the dot started giggling, moving a little bit too much. This gun made it easy.
You could definitely tell the extra muzzle energy. Like that thing spins when you hit it.
Yeah.
And you had perfect hits.
Thanks.
All right, my turn. 8 rounds of the Browning 115. Doing this with the Romeo-X enclosed.
Now I want y'all to know though that I did loosen those legs up just to make it a little easier.
The Sig 365 trigger is not my favorite when it comes to like trying to shoot slow controlled groups. This was rushed accuracy, and it was perfect with this trigger because the trigger to me is set up to just pull through, stroke through. Don't stage it, don't creep up, do the modern shooting style of just pulling through, which ironically is kind of a return back to the double action revolver days.
But also what I like about that trigger is it's not going to unintentionally make you go faster than you want to. Like you are truly in control of that gun, and I appreciate that.
That's a very valid point. It's people have often said, oh, but there's no safety dingus on it. True, but the weight and the length of the stroke is something where anyone who's competent, and remember to look your gun into the holster. There's no gunfight was won by racing into the holster. So be careful when you're holstering, and you should be good. But for this, it worked well. How will it do for shooting a group? Will I have the discipline to just shoot quickly, or am I going to drag it out and mess it up? We'll find out.
5 rounds from 7 yards. I'm going to shoot at the left circle square.
That is a 1-inch square, which typically is about the same size as the front sight post at this distance. Makes for a nice fine aiming point.
Oh.
Round number 4 doesn't count. That's the one I always throw off anyways.
Well, I was just making it easier for you to look good later.
5 shots from 7 yards. Well, I have the discipline to break my discipline and just stroke through the poles. I almost didn't.
Boom.
Malfunction.
Oh, yeah.
She's always wishing the best for me, folks. Did not chamber all the way. This is one of those 21 round magazines. I wonder if it's the same one that had an issue.
I had to do that just so you tried a little bit harder.
Save the group.
I really, really like this. If it were my gun and I was going to change one thing, as much as I love fiber optics in the front, I would take that out if I'm going to run a dot, because the two for me kind of, just danced too much. The dot, I really enjoyed this. And once I turned it down a couple clicks before I got on the spinner, I really liked it. The trigger, as I said, I like this trigger. It's not going to get away from you. If you practice, you can probably, make it go faster, but it's not going to go faster than you intend for it to go. And like Graham said, if you're reholstering, well, your finger's not going to be there anyway. So just learn how to run your gun. I appreciate the stippling on this. It's not overly aggressive, and because it's got the raised and lower surfaces in like a circular pattern, it creates a nice suction. It's a little bit warm today, so I'm able to confidently say that on a sweaty range day, that is a huge benefit on this gun. But it's not gonna tear holes in your shirt, I don't think. So I like that. Just enough of an undercut up in here to make it really comfortable to get my whole grip in. It's not riding on my knuckle in any way. Great memory points, perfect serrations, nothing is sharp. I don't know what else that I could say.
And folks, just off camera a moment ago, T and I had a little almost mock argument as to whether or not this is full size, because it doesn't feel like a full size gun.
It really doesn't.
But 4.3 inch barrel, 17 round capacity, that's a duty gun size.
I feel like some of the other SIGs that we've shot that were smaller felt bigger.
Huh. Interesting.
Especially in weight. Like, to me, this just felt like a normal, I picked it up, I was like, oh, this is going to be a nice little carry gun review. I had to be told that it's got the longer barrel in it, and I really enjoyed shooting it. And if that's what it is that helped me, well then, yay.
I had a good time with this. You guys know I'm a fan. 4 inches or longer, that's how I like my guns. The recoil impulse is just nicer. You get more energy, as we saw on the spinner, and it just makes for a better time shooting. I can learn to pull through on triggers. Obviously, it happened there. The only gripes or hiccups that I have thus far, I believe, are because this is an early sample. This is a pre-release sample so that we could get you guys a review. Found some small things. The magazine, for example, Sig is famous for rolling changes mid-production without even telling anybody. This might be an early 21 round mag with a different spring in it. Also, when we changed the back straps, the only back strap that came with this texture on it was the one that was installed on the gun, not the 2 replacements. That may change for production. If it does or doesn't, I really don't care, because it feels fine either way. And then there's an metal insert for the mag well to screw into that goes in those back straps, and only our medium came with that. Again, I'm not faulting Sig. This is an early pre-release thing, so all that stuff is likely going to be fixed by the time you pick one up in a shop. And if not, is it really that big of a deal? It's up to you. Tia looks like she's waiting to say something.
No, I was hoping that you noted that part about that, and we would likely have answers to those fixes by next week.
True. Yes, we are on our way. By the time you guys see this, we'll already probably be back, but we're on our way to visit Sig and learn a bunch of things, which will be a pretty cool opportunity. Looking forward to that. This gun, you guys saw our Damascus Precision build with a 4.1 inch barrel and the Icarus macro grip. This takes that a little bit further and shoots, I dare say, a little bit nicer, because they're running a longer recoil spring. It's not the XL spring, it's a different spring. I think that changes things. The new Romeo-X enclosed emitter dot. You guys know I'm not a fan of dots, but I ran one this whole time. Enclosed emitters, I believe, should be the way of the future. I have more faith and trust in one. What would make me trust carrying this is because it sits so low and these Dawson precision sights are high enough, if the dot craps out, I can still use the irons. So
I was curious, were you using the dot or were you using the irons?
I used the dots.
Okay.
The one dot. I have an astigmatism, so it's more like I use the spider, the red spider, put it on target. But yeah, this is a fun one, and my excitement for this model existing is that it lets smaller framed people, or people who are maybe not normally dissuaded from carrying a full size have proper 9mm performance from a real barrel length and plenty of capacity to enjoy that performance with. Tia made a good point off camera that your distance between bones and the distance inside the hip, below the belt line, all of that still may play a role, but we're all different shapes and sizes. I'm sure somewhere one of you has wished for a full size but not been able to carry it. Check these out at your local shop. This might be the option for you. And the other thing I'm excited about is this was pleasant on the range. It's full size. Finally, we have a 365 that you can train with and carry. And with it being full size and having a pick rail on it, it could also be a home defense gun. The 365s initially were a sacrifice, a compromise that we made for concealability and carryability, losing muzzle energy, losing capacity. And bedside guns, I think, should be as big as you can have it, because you might as well have easy controls and easy shooting and more energy. The fuse is really bringing all that together. Thanks for watching.
Like it's fused
Yeah,
into being just what you need.
they fused it all, and even though it's skinny, I didn't have any trouble with my
I think that's what I like about this compared to other guns of a similar nomenclature, if you will, is it still has that small concealed carry presentation. I've had other guns that I bought specifically for carry that were of a similar size. I still couldn't carry them because they were just too bulky.
Yeah.
So it's not always barrel length that makes that, you know.
Yeah, it's just 1.1 inches wide.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying?
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.